Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things home ownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome, my friends. It is the Friday Bo Snerdley Rush Hour. It seems like yesterday we were just doing another Friday when these Fridays just keep coming so quickly. Of course, last week, our dearly beloved Carlos was in parts of the world unknown, and I really can't speak to it more than that without perhaps putting myself in danger. So I'll just leave it at that. I'm wondering, Carlos, are you planning on being with us in the morning?
Yes, I am.
Oh. Do you want me to get on my knees and thank you for...
No, nothing in that sense is needed. It's my job, and I'll be here tomorrow morning as well.
Oh, okay. I'm so happy to hear that. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us, my friends. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. If you want to be part of the program this afternoon, of course, there are so many things to discuss. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that the United States of America overnight has been resegregated? The Democrats are out saying that Donald Trump has rolled back segregation. We may get into some of that. It's just so nonsensical. I don't even want to. Even Jim Clyburn is out on the trail. Before we get into the serious matters of the day, just a quick word to my dear Princess Diana, whom I just adore, even when she's wrong about things, which is very rarely. But I saw a story in the Daily Mail, and the headline surprised me. It didn't. Michelle Obama reveals the real reason she won't answer Democrat calls to run for president in 2028. Michelle Obama reveals, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I just had everything the lights went out on my monitor here, and I'm just, Michelle Obama reveals the real reason she won't answer Democrats' call to run for president, saying bluntly, it's never going to happen. Now, who is the person that said all along, it's never going to happen? Do you recall way back when, Carlos, when there was all this talk about Michelle Obama, and I said it's never going to happen? Do you Well, I just revealed.
I don't recall.
You don't recall. You don't recall.
I do not recall.
Nice one, Carlos. Anyway, oh, here, Carlos, look at this. What is this? Can you see it? What is this, Carlos?
Looks like a check.
Yes, it's from Princess Diana, who thought that Michelle Obama would be running for president. And I said at the time, it's never going to happen. And Michelle Obama says it's never gonna happen. I was so glad when we got out of the White House, she said in an interview. She worried about the effect of growing up on her daughters, and said that she wanted them to have the freedom of not having the eyes of the world on them. They're still dealing with the paparazzi and being who they are and trying to carve out their own identity. Because of that, she said she would never, ever be a candidate for the president. Why am I picking on who? Oh, goodness. They're at it. Carlos, your fan club is just outrageous.
Don't upset them. Don't upset them.
Okay, Carlos. So, as I said years ago now, It is never going to happen. And so I hope that now this matter has been put to bed once and for all. I said it years ago. It will never happen. What? Gloating is beneath me. I'm not gloating. I'm just stating fact, and I'm reminding everybody, because Princess Diana is going to be on tomorrow. God willing, we're all here tomorrow. And Princess Diana, and I might actually have a very slight disagreement on something, and I'm just setting the stage, that's all. Okay, in other news of the day, the husband of a former congresswoman has been charged with wire fraud. His name is Courtney Merritts, Merritts. He be 46 years old. That is a little Ebonic explanation for you. He be 46. He also be facing 2 counts of wire fraud for allegedly filing sham applications with the Small Business Administration. That would be in Ebonic, the Small Business Administration back in 2020. During the COVID years. More than $20,000 in payment from pandemic-era Paycheck Protection and Economic Injury Disaster Loan programs. So he's been charged. Everybody, as you know, supposed to have the presumption of innocence until they are proven guilty. So let us see whether he is innocent or whether he isn't in due time. Meanwhile, the nonprofit, I have been talking about the NGOs and all these nonprofits and all that. Amy Bach is a name that most taxpayers in America are not familiar with, and even now, they are not familiar with her. She was the leader of a Minnesota, that's where Tim Walz was governor. Yes, Mr. Walz was governor. Mr. Walz is one of those saying, governor, that segregation come back to the States. I believe he's in on that one. I think. I'll have to double check that. Anyway, Minnesota. Yes, Tim Walz, governor. The leader of a Minnesota anti-hunger nonprofit was convicted earlier this week of masterminding a brazen scheme that reaped more than $240 million in pandemic relief funds. She set up a network of bogus food kitchens that billed the United States government for providing 91 million meals during the pandemic days. The nonprofit's leader, Amy Bach, was convicted by a jury of 7 counts, including wire fraud and bribery. Another defendant, Salim Said, who oversaw one of the bogus kitchens, was convicted of 20 counts. So we shall see. There were over 70 people. Nice little nonprofit. Your average nonprofit, $240 million, right under Governor Walz's nose. Now, yes, I had it right here. This is the next story in the stack. Look at this. Governor Tim Walz claims, without evidence, that segregation will return to the United States. You know why segregation is going to return to the United States, Carlos and everyone else? Because Donald Trump is paring down the education department. And so the bureaucracy in Washington is all the education department. I bet you the American citizens had no idea this was the case. The only reason that America has been an integrated society and has escaped Democrat Party Jim Crow segregation is because of the Education Department. And as long as the Education Department had millions and billions of dollars passing through it, which never made its way to school children or the teachers, but as long as all that money kept flowing into the Department of Education, then America could remain to be an integrated nation. Now that Donald Trump has taken the paring blades to the Department of Education, why we're going to return to the 1950s Democrat Jim Crow America, and America will once again be segregated. Black people will have their own water fountains, their own schools, and then they're probably going to have to do a separate school now for Hispanics, because you can't just throw them in, because some Hispanics are white, some Hispanics are not. So you're going to have to just give them their own segregated school, because segregation is now returning because of the Department of Education. Says Tim Walsh, and not only Tim Walsh, cut one, James Clyburn, the Democrat sort of, this is the guy that driving Miss Nancy, one of the top leaders in the Democrat Party, James Clyburn, the guy who gave Biden his endorsement. If it wasn't for James Clyburn, many believe, Biden would have never been elected. Do you know what his daughter's name is? Mignon. Like a filet. Yes, it is. Anyway, this is what James Clyburn has to say.
This is the establishment of Jim Crow 2.0. I said that before we ever had the election, and it's coming true. And so I would hope that we would stop running around chasing these shiny objects and begin to focus the American people on exactly what this administration is doing.
I couldn't agree more. We need to focus on what this administration is doing, because they're doing it so damned well. And I'm enjoying it. Oh, yes. 2006, my friends. The daughters of Solomon Linda had a legal victory. The Lion Sleeps Tonight was written by their dad. He never got a thing. He was a cleaner at a Johannesburg record company when he wrote the song, got almost nothing. He died in 1962 with $25 in his account. The song has been recorded by so many legends: Pete Seeger, the Kingston Trio, the Tokens, Carl Denver, R.E.M., featured in The Lion King. Estimated this song had earned $15 million in royalties, and yet this guy broke. His daughters won, and they got 25% of all past and future royalties from the song on this day in 2006. Snerdley, Golden, James, with you. Rush Hour. The lion is awake. The year was 1964. I Want to Hold Your Hand was number one. Until this song took over the number one spot on this day in 1964. The Beatles. It is Friday, Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the Friday edition. A caller host, let me ask you a question. You have vast foreign policy experience and your many trips around the wherever it is that you go. Who is you would think the number one threat if there were going to be a country that could take out America?
China.
You think it would be China?
100%. 100% China.
TJ, if there were a nation on earth that could take out, we would really be like, we're going to war with these guys, we might get beat. Who would it be? I'm waiting.
I don't really think there is one.
There is none. Well, both of you are wrong. There is a nation that can handily take the United States of America. And we have two brilliant political analysts that will tell us who it is. They have joined forces. Joy Reid and Don Lemon.
Grampy Trump, let's talk. Let's talk. First of all, you can't make Canada the 51st state without going to war with them. And let me explain how that happened, how that worked out the last time we tried to go to war with Canada. They burned the White House to the ground in 1814 and won the war. Canada beat us in the War of 1812. They probably liked their chances against us. We're not going to beat them in a war because we have never been able to do that. You'd have to occupy a country that is equivalent of the size of the United States, in which the top 2/3 of it is uninhabited, frozen forest land that touches the Arctic. You know how that worked out when the Nazis tried that with Russia, which is the equivalent of Canada on that part of the world? We gonna lose. We don't have enough troops to occupy. They are a country of 39 million people who have about as many guns per capita as we do.
That's nonsense. No, Carlos, don't try. Because you know what else is uninhabited? Brain. We'll be back. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour continues. Trying to make a comeback in, Jill. They've offered to come back in and help the Democrats out in their time of need by doing some fundraising. So far, I must say, the reception to that offer isn't overwhelming, I guess would be a way to put it. Democrats seem to not be warming up to the idea. Okay, let us hit some audio here. Donald Trump has been speaking today, and I just want to run through a few of these, okay? First, before we get to Trump, let's get to cut 3. Senator Schumer. Princess Diana pointed out something to me that I hadn't noticed, that Chuck Schumer has done something of a makeover. He doesn't have those glasses anymore. He's going on TV without the glasses. This guy has been with these glasses for as long as he's been trying to get in front of cameras. But now he's looking different. He's doing a visual makeover, no glasses on TV, and this is old Chucky.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences. This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day, and I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
There's a lot there to unpack. Number one, people have been on the Republican side have been saying that this is a Democrat plot with these town halls, that it's a bunch of Democrats. They've been denying it. Well, Chucky just admitted it. And now we're going to force them to change their vote? Really? Is that democracy? Or face consequences? Really? Okay, Chuck, you've got that. Now let's get to some President Trump. Cut 5, he was asked if he has the power. Well, listen to it.
Do you think you have the authority, the power to round up people, deport them, and then you're under no obligation to a court to show the evidence against them?
Well, that's what the law says, and that's what our country needs, because unfortunately, they allowed millions of people to come into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. So you ought to ask, did he have the authority to allow millions of people? Did Biden have the authority to do something that's unthinkable? have open borders where millions of people poured into our country, totally unvetted and totally unchecked, just as you would say. And many of those people were criminals. Many of them were from jails and prisons and mental institutions and gang members and drug dealers and very dangerous people. Many were murderers. We have 11,088 that we know of murders they murdered. Of that number, at least half killed more than one person. They're in our country. They're in a location near you. Biden allowed that to happen to our country. And his people that really ran the country. And the person that operated the auto pen, I think we ought to find out who that was, because I guess that was the real president. So when you ask me if we have the authority, did Biden have the authority to allow millions of people to come into our country? Many of these people hardened criminals at the top of the line who have caused tremendous damage.
So we have that. Now, the president also spoke on education matters with the Department of Education. That would be cut 6. And here we go.
I've decided that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, headed by Kelly Loeffler, is a terrific person.
Brilliant.
Will handle all of the student loan portfolio.
Brilliant.
We have a portfolio that's very large, lots of loans, tens of thousands of loans. Pretty complicated deal. And that's coming out of the Department of Education immediately, and it's going to be headed up by Kelly Loeffler at SBA, and they're all set for it. They're waiting for it. It'll be serviced much better than it has in the past. It's been a mess. And also Bobby Kennedy, the Health and Human Services.
More brilliant.
Be handling special needs and all of the nutrition programs and everything else. Rather complex, but that's going to be headed by and handled by Health and Human Services. So I think that'll work out very well. Those two elements will be taken out of the Department of Education, and then all we have to do is get the students to get guidance from the people that love them and cherish them, including their parents, by the way, who will be totally involved in their education, along with the boards and the governors and the states. And it's going to be a great situation.
Now, Linda McMahon, who is trying to put herself out of a job at the Department of Education, also spoke. And this is what Secretary McMahon said.
Well, I think that's been the president's, hue and cry. He said we are spending more money per pupil than any country in the world, and we're seeing less results. That's a clear indicator that we are not doing the best thing we can do for our students. I do think returning to basics is the best way to do it. We need to teach math and English and literacy and writing. We don't need to teach ideology. We have to let teachers teach. I have such respect for our teachers. I think that it's the most noble profession in the world, and I have seen what can happen when teachers are allowed to teach and to be innovative and be creative in their classrooms. Brett, for every dollar that goes into the school system, the federal funding, it's been reported to me that almost 47 cents of that dollar is spent in regulatory compliance. Teachers, they don't want to stay. They're leaving the profession because they are bogged down by regulation. Let's lift that burden and let them do what they do best, which is teach.
Now, you hear that. You hear how dismal the state of education is. So what are Democrats doing and saying about this? Let's check in with Senator Polk Elizabeth Warren.
For every public school teacher, every public school librarian, every administrator, every school bus driver, everybody who helps educate our kids, you need to know this is the moment we got to stick together and we got to fight back. I don't care if you are a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, a libertarian, a vegetarian. We need you in this fight. This is the fight for an America where it's not just rich kids who get an education and have a chance to build something with their lives, but that every kid in America gets the best education they can so they can build the best lives. But the only way that's going to happen is if we stay in this fight. It is a fight we can win.
How come you haven't done it till now? Why is it that for decades, more decades than I can count, the number of kids that are failing to come out of school with an education, poor kids, kids that aren't rich kids, has been exploding? Why is that? And it's getting worse. Why is that? If you're so concerned, Elizabeth Warren, why only now that the money is being drained from a bureaucracy do you care about the education of poor children in America? Why is that, Lizzie? Elizabeth. Okay, Donald Trump, on another entirely different matter. This matter was put before him. I think it surprised him. A question, cut 14, Carlos, that and check out his reaction. He wasn't prepared for this one, didn't know this was coming.
The two astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay. They got $5 a day per diem. For 286 days, that is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for you.
Mr. President,
I like that.
Mr. President,
I'll pay it right out of my... Is that all? That's not a lot. For what they had to go through. And I want to thank Elon Musk, by the way, because think if we don't have him. You know, there's only so long, even though they're in the capsule up there, that the body starts to deteriorate after 9 or 10 months and gets really bad after 14, 15 months with the bones and the blood and all the things that you've been reporting on very well. And if we don't have Elon, they could be up there a long time. Who else is going to get him? And I just want to thank him. He's going through a lot, what they're doing to him. And these people are going to be caught, and they're going to be caught and they're going to be prosecuted. And from what they tell me, I see this just by watching your programs and reading the news, but from what they tell me, they could get 20 years in jail, and they'll get it. I'll tell you, there's going to be no leniency, and there'll be no pardons. I can tell you that right now.
And you said this morning...
Former member of the squad, Jamal. Is it Brown or Bauman? Jamal Bauman. Anyway, Jamal was on CNN, and this is what former Congressman Jamal had to say about Elon.
That's not true, and this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people. It was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
Let me just...
Elon, I hope your legal department takes a really good look at those statements made by Jamal on CNN. Please. Okay, now, Ana Navarro also is stunned beyond belief. That would be cut 11. And why is she stunned? Well, it's a very good reason she's stunned.
Police departments in South Florida are signing cooperation agreements to be deputized as ICE. When we, I keep thinking, okay,
this is going to be
going to change the way folks, they're gleeful. Everybody I know who voted for Trump is gleeful and supportive of everything he's doing.
Yes, they're gleeful, and they're not happy in the city. Standing next to Ilhan Omar was Minnesota Mayor Jacob Frey. And this is what Jacob Frey had to say with Ilhan Omar by his side.
And I want all of you just to know exactly where we are as far as our neighbors go. Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for undocumented immigrants.
Really?
For our trans community. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, Minneapolis is a place where you should be proud to call home.
Okay, now, I wanted to play AOC. I don't have time. We got to get to some of your calls. So, tomorrow, God willing, we are here. We are going to hear from Elon. And also, the New York Times ran this awful story, and it was just bogus, about Elon Musk going to be breaking in to see the war plans that we might have with China and all that. I'll have to hold on to that till tomorrow morning. We've got so much more. I hope you'll join us then. God willing, we're all here. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, who is this, Mike? Come on, Mike. Stop shaking your head and tell me who it is.
I mean, it's a West Coast beat.
I mean, come on. Are you telling me that this is that guy? Is this
Papa Bo? I mean,
is this him?
D-O-double-G was sentenced to 3 years probation and fined $1,000 for firearms violation after a handgun was found in his car when he was spotted for a traffic violation. Oof. Talk about bad luck.
Bad luck? This guy has made millions of dollars.
No. I'm saying you get stopped for a traffic violation and they find your gun.
It helps his image. It helps his street cred. It makes them... You don't understand. Things are not like they were in a sane world. We have to go. James Golden, Snerdley. Yeah, Snoop. 1981. Most of you know the group as REO Speedwagon. However, I was just advised by Carlos that you're wrong. It's Rio Speedwagon. Anyway, they went to number 1 on the charts with this one, Keep On Loving You. It was their first top 40 hit, their first number 1 hit. It even did well across the pond, went up to number 7 in the charts over there. Rio Speedwagon. James Golden, Snerdley with you here.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Rich in Pennsylvania, you're up. What's on your mind this afternoon?
2 points, James. Phyllis Hyman was dynamite, was she not?
Love her.
Saw her at the Strand in Redondo Beach in 94. And the gal that you played about the War of 1812 and the Canadians and their guns, it's not 1812, and we have more guns here.
Yes, she said they have more guns than us. Canada only has 40 million people, last count. And the United States of America, 300 million people with over 300 million guns, I believe was the last thing so there's no way that, and besides, Canada has strict gun control laws anyway. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Okay, thank you for the call. And yes, I love Phyllis Hyman. Robert in Suffolk County, you are up next.
Hi, James. Mass immigration was attempted overthrow of the United States government, committing various felonies. They had no lawful authorization.
Well, I have news for you that we didn't get to. You know what the next thing, and we're going to wait and see whether it happens. This judge, President Trump, has called on Chief Justice Roberts to, put a stop to these radical judges with their unlawful nationwide injunctions. Meanwhile, we are getting reports that this judge in Washington is actually going to decide if Trump can keep his wartime presidential powers. This is amazing. And then I have another story here about a judge potentially throwing the wrench in the GOP's crackdown of violent campus products. Folks, this is what's happening with the judicial system is something that is going to have to be addressed. In the meantime, let's go to Joan in Manhattan. You are up next. Hi, Joan.
Oh, hi, Bo. You know, I wanted to talk about Trump and his policies, his ideas for the Department of Education. But while I was holding on, you talked about the fascinating story of the song, The Lion Sleeps Tonight, and I'm actually more interested in that. So were you celebrating, was there a particular anniversary today? Was this the anniversary of the settlement?
Today's the day that they, in the year 2006, on this day, they won the 6-year court battle. The three daughters of the South African janitor, Solomon Linda, who wrote the song. So they had gotten no royalty from it, or virtually no royalties for it. And his estate, the family, his daughters sued. And finally, after 6 years, they won. And so 25% of all past and present royalties, and again, that song had earned about $15 million during its time. The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It's amazing. It's an amazing story. Pamela, thank you for the call, Joan. Pamela, you're up next.
The opera singer who sings the background in The Lion Sleeps Tonight never gets her due Justice. She's lovely.
You're so right. I need to find out who that is. Do you know who it is?
I had looked up her name a while back. I can't recall it right now. But
well, let me know when you do, because we got to go right now. But I'm going to look, too. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow, early in the morning, 7 a.m., and hope you will be here, too. In the meantime, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.